Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Matthew Klinsky, and today I have a great entrepreneur who also loves staffing as much as I do, in the fact that he started his own company called Duck and Owl. I'm going to be welcoming Vikram Seth to the show today. Let's run the opening video and we'll get going. Hello, my name is Matt Klinsky, and I am excited and happy to be back on filming new episodes for my podcast show. Today is a very special guest. So it is episode 24, and I have Vikram Seth on for our guest today. And what we're going to talk a lot about today, and what I'm hoping that you're going to get out of it, is really Vikram is one of those unique guys that I love talking with because he loves the entrepreneur space. He's a member of the entrepreneur organization, but he also loves HR, recruiting, and technology. So about 6 out of 6, we match on a lot of things when it comes to our passions, our hobbies, and how we want to contribute to society. But let me tell you a little bit about Vikram before he comes on the show. He considers himself a serial tech entrepreneur who likes to create new products and services that can help improve operational efficiency. So, right then and there, we're seeing eye to eye on everything that we do. As a foodie, he also loves to cook and appreciate sustainable farming. He is associated with Duck and Owl and Simpalm, and certainly as well as EO. So without further ado, I'm going to let Vikram join the show, and we're going to hear his story about how he became an entrepreneur. So hello, Vikram.
Hi, Matt. Thank you very much for inviting me.
By the way, I am super excited about your company. I can tell everybody about this company, man. You are the hottest thing in tech.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for inviting me to your show. And thank you very much for a very nice introduction that actually you made.
I'm sure I didn't do it justice, man. You are one of those cool people. You're based out of Chicago now. So How did you get to where you are today? Because I'd love to hear this story again. You've told it a couple of times, but man, it's one of those textbook, from poverty to success type of stories. So I'd love to hear and share your story with us.
Sure. I mean, do you want to know? I mean, how actually this all started up? How actually?
That would be awesome. Start from the beginning. What kind of kid were you?
Okay. For all those viewers, who don't know me, I'm Vikram Seth. I actually born and raised in India. Went to like a public school. Obviously, as you saw, when I was growing up over there, I have no intention of going into like a tech recruitment and all those type of, or nothing sort of entrepreneurship. Much of my family background actually come from like a very blue collar type of the jobs they were doing in India. And obviously, I did my bachelor back in India. Then I got a chance. A lot of people, they don't know. The moment I left India, the first country that I work was Tanzania.
Ah, okay.
So back in Africa, over there I work as their one of the pharmaceutical manufacturing plant, and actually I think that's where actually whole everything started. That's where actually when I see a lot of other people over there, like for especially the person actually who started that company, and he was actually almost, the 200 people were working over there. And that actually really racked my mind. Hey, you know what, how it is possible that this guy is actually helping to feed like a 200 people and their families. And then, I got a chance to talk to him, a couple of times. So he told me his story too. And he was a US citizen, by the way, but he actually started his company back there
really?
in Africa and making a pharmaceutical. And at that time, as a kid, I mean, I was just 22-year old at that time. So I was asking him, why did you, leave US and come over here? So he gave me a very nice story about his entrepreneurship journey, why he came over there. So I think that's the first time that I can say that I kind of like a taste of a little bit of entrepreneurship, and how it works and why people do that, or why people do those type of the risk.
I have a very similar story. There were just these people that I gravitated to, those business owners, whether it was construction company I was working with or restaurants I would work with as a bus boy, but I would ask the question. And it's amazing when you ask questions, sometimes people give you some inspiration and light. So it sounds like he was a mentor, like your first mentor for you.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that I was exposed because this person, I mean, didn't have much time to talk, but the very few snippets of his life that I got, like like a few minutes. So he was ready to talk, and he then that's why actually I said, like, that's touched my heart that, hey, you know what, this is something that I need to do. But even at that time, I wasn't sure that what I'm gonna end up in United States, right? So everything happened over was an accident. Right. It wasn't planned that, I'm going to land over here one day and then I'm going to start.
So how old were you when you were working for that company?
22-year-old.
22. Okay. 22. And then when did you end up coming over?
I think I came in the United States almost like over a decade before. I mean, around 2008, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 2008. And I remember that actually, I mean, when I landed over here, I mean, I landed in Virginia, Northern Virginia. I mean, the Dallas in Virginia, and one of my friends came to pick me up, and I remember I asked him, hey, what, do you have anything planned for me? He's like, no, I don't have anything planned for you. Right? So I thought, what I'm gonna do? He's like, what, I don't know what we're gonna do, because whatever the education that we have back in India, I don't think so it's gonna help you here.
It's tough. I mean, it's one of those things, you get a lot of great experience, but especially in technology and in certain parts of the country, it's just tough sometimes.
It was tough time. And 2008, I mean, the economy was not that great at that time, I remember. Right.
Yeah. So, it was actually, I remember 2008 very well, because that was when I started one of my first businesses, and it was such a tight job market because people were staying in their jobs so much longer that a lot of my friends were graduating with master's degrees and they couldn't get jobs anywhere. And, it was just one of those, people were they weren't retiring and staying on their jobs. And it was just a weird market at that time.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned about like the bus boy, you were working as a bus boy.
Of course.
So that's how my journey started in the United States. And for me, it was very hard to actually accept that, to swallow that pill. I mean, in Africa, I was working as an expatriate over there, one of the pharmaceutical company. Now landed up over here and no job. And then I landed up my first job as a dishwasher.
Yeah. Geez.
So, but again, I mean, I learned a lot of stuff from the restaurant business. I think I think a lot of stuff that I learned about the, like a teamwork, collaboration, even though today I'm PMP certified, Agile certified, but I think most of the stuff that I learned from the restaurant business, I started over there as a dishwasher. I make my ways to the bus boy, and then I think when I make then bus boy to like a server. Then at that time, I mean, and I didn't know that all those back in India or Africa. I mean, like I remember when I used to work over there, they used to pay me, I think, the point system, because for me it was difficult to understand that, hey, they're not gonna pay you anything, you're gonna make a tip.
So, wait, excuse me?
Yeah. So then I saw like how it's gonna work. I mean, and that. I mean, Matt, if you really want to make a tip, you need to know how to hustle.
Oh yeah. Some of my best employees I've hired that are still on our team today have all restaurant experience, and I have 7 years of restaurant experience. Wow. So I'm a firm believer that restaurants really define work ethic in some way, especially when you're in, your younger years, to kind of get a foundation. So 100% agree.
Yes. So I learned my way over there. I learned how to cook food. I mean, but since, I mean, they, according to them at that time, they were saying that, hey, you know what, your English is better. So they said like, you should work outside.
So walk me through how you then got into Georgetown.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so like, when actually I came over here, I mean, so I think my thing was, I want to actually polish myself. I want to go for the higher education. So that's actually I remember, I mean, how I actually met my partner, who's my partner right now in my business. So he entered in a restaurant, I remember, and then, just like, it's, I don't know, whatever that you want to say, it's a revelation or something, that something comes in my mind that I should talk to this person. And even at that time, he was not a business owner, but I talked to him and I said, like, you know what, I wanna go for the higher studies here in United States. And remember, I mean, when I talked to him at that time, I didn't have any money in my pocket.
Right.
And he said, like, yeah, I mean, you can go and actually you can try for an education. And that's how actually it started. The first university that I went, it was not Georgetown. It was like a very small school.
Okay.
I wasn't satisfied, right? Because I mean, me growing up in India as a kid, imagination of mine university in the United States is a big lush gardens, the big campuses.
It's what you're used to, right? Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the university that I ended up, I mean, it has nothing to do. It was like a simple building, right? And I couldn't digest that, right? Because I feel like, what, in United States, I mean, everything is like like a big, the universities are big, the campuses, the campus feeling. And I remember since I was not satisfied, so I was working simultaneously on my server job. And one afternoon, I asked the restaurant owner, what do you think about the Georgetown school? Right? Because I wasn't sure, like, and
have you heard of this school called Georgetown? Yeah.
Yes. So, and this guy, he was very kind to me at that time, and he was looking at me. What did you say? I said, like, what do you think about this Georgetown school? He's like, you know what? My kids didn't get a chance to go into that school. They applied, but they rejected. So if you're asking me what Georgetown is, whether you are very naive or whether you think I'm a foolish.
You're right. So you didn't mean to insult him, but he probably took it the wrong way.
Yes, but because he was thinking that, what, I'm just checking, but that was a very naive to me, because at that time, seriously, I was not aware that Georgetown is that big school.
Yeah, right? Sure.
So, and then he said, like, what, Vikram, I mean, if you get yourself into that school, that, if you get into your school, then he said, like, we made a bet, I will give you this much money. I said, okay.
Wow. This is the partner, or this was the owner of the restaurant?
This was the owner of the restaurant.
Wow. Right? That's
right. And he said, okay. He said, I will make you like a bartender of my restaurant, and I said, okay, that's fine. You know what? Then, when I saw that, then I actually start digging I start digging into it. How can I get into the school? I was lucky enough, I get a chance to meet director of the program. I mean, maybe that's my entrepreneur spirit. I mean,
but you don't take no for an answer, for sure. You just keep going until you figure out an answer.
Yes. And like, for example, I mean, in a normal procedure, you go to the website, you read it and everything. But this is my thing. Hey, you know what? Whatever is right over there on a website, I know that 99%, we all know that. But I want to know something that it's not mentioned on the website, right? So then, I told myself, hey, let's go to Washington, D.C. and let's talk to this director of the program face to face.
Wow.
Right. And I remember, I mean, I went there and I said, like, I want to meet to this so and so person. And somebody told me, like, you cannot meet. Do you have an appointment? I said, I don't. Then she said, you can come tomorrow. I said, like, you know what? I come all the way from I came all the way from Leesburg. Yeah. And it's going to take me like a 2 hour to come over here, and I have a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then she said, I'm not sure if he's going to meet you, but you can try. And then I was lucky enough, I actually knock his door. And then I told him, and I apologize that I'm just showing up, not even have an appointment. I gave him the reason why I'm asking. And I think he was kind enough. And he said, like, okay, no problem. I have a 10 minutes, sell yourself.
Wow. Just like that.
Yeah. Sell yourself. And I think I sold it at
you did it. You did. Yes. You got the A on that pitch.
Yes, I got the A, and I remember that he asked me at the one. He said, like, Vikram, whatever that you are saying, everything is right. But one thing I want to know, how you gonna arrange the funds, because this is not this is expensive school and it's a private school. Then I told him, is that your problem or my problem? Then he said, yeah, that's your problem, but I want to know that. I said, like, if that's my problem, you don't need to worry about that. That's my problem. I'll figure it out.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And he said, like, I think this is what we need. I mean, this is what Georgetown is looking for, that type of the DNA. And then he literally, I mean, told to his, his assistants, I mean, hey, you know what? This guy is in. verify all of his credential. If all of his credential are verified, my special permission to this person, to get admission in Georgetown, and I got
That's awesome. What a great story, man. That's what a great way to approach life. I mean, that anything you want, you just don't say no. You just keep on going.
Yes. So that's how I ended up over here, and I was lucky enough. I didn't apply for any loan. I paid everything, and I was not. I don't want to say, I don't want anybody over here, whoever listening to me, that I was a very like a bright student or like very like a smart, and the Georgetown gave me 100% scholarship. Answer is no, right? I wasn't that much smart, but yes, the hardworking and entrepreneurship that actually pays you off at the end. What, I was simultaneously working in a restaurant, simultaneously working on like a lot of like small gigs on the side, so that I make sure that I have money, right? There are always a two-way around, whether actually you can go and telling people, hey, I don't have a money, or whether actually you use that time to make the money.
Yeah. Do you have a story? So, hard work, dedication, focus, but when was the story where you felt you were an entrepreneur? Like the first time you told somebody, do you know that story? Do you remember that feeling?
So like, as I said, when I actually exposed to the Africa first time, so that's the first time that actually I kind of a little bit of taste. Then actually when I started working over here in the United States, so I met a lot of people, who it's like more like a rag to riches type of the stories. They like my restaurant owners, they started everything from nothing, right? When actually I was talking to them, they were telling me stories, right? So for me, that was like a lessons, right? What, like, it's not like those people are giving me the lesson, okay, how did they make it over here, and how did they actually started, and how did they arrange the funds to start their first restaurant, and how they actually convert the first restaurant into the chain of restaurants,
right?
And looking at them, the way they actually interact with their employees, that taught me a lot of stuff. Hey, you know what? That's the right way to do it, right? So that's, I think, and I remember that you asked me specifically, how did you actually, when I was working in a restaurant in a small university, not in a Georgetown, I asked my owner, hey, you know what? Since we have a lot of buffet and we used to have like a buffet over there, and we used to actually, and then I told him, I noticed that a lot of time, we don't have enough customer, and our food normally go into the waste, right? I said, I have a plan. They said, like, what's the plan? I said, like, I go to school on Tuesday and Friday. Why don't we make a lunch boxes, and I will take those lunch boxes and sell in my school.
Wow. So yeah. And he said yes.
And he said, yes, do it, right? And then I said, okay. Then he said, what do you need for that? Then I said, like, I probably need a nice lunch boxes where actually we can put the food. And then he said, like, okay, you can sell the food $7. $7 or $6 is my cost. If you sell in a $10, the $4 is yours.
Wow, what a great opportunity! And it would have never happened if you would have asked. That's the cool part.
Right. Yeah, I saw I saw there is a leakage of operation. Because they were wasting the food, right?
Yeah.
But the wasting of the food is the one thing, but somebody was making the food, so there is a double. The double wastage. The wasting of effort, wasting of resources, and wasting of money. Then I try to actually convert all those into like some sort of efficiency, so we can bring more revenue on the table.
What did you like more about kind of this experience so far on this journey? Was it the people you were interacting with from a human capital management, HR, or was it the operational efficiencies, or was there anything else that you stuck out that was like something that was like you were gravitating to, or something that really pulled you, excited you at that time of your life?
See, Matt, if I just focus on like the restaurant part, in a restaurant, you probably, see all the different aspects, right? For example, human capital, you see that, right? Because it's so much collaborative, the environment sometimes get very intense when actually the restaurant gets very busy. So, I feel like I was blessed enough to learn everything. For me, it's like a life learning experiences, right? You don't learn this in a Georgetown. Right? You learn this when actually you go to like a real life. So that's how I understand the human capital. The restaurant that I was working over here, they didn't have any HR department, right? So, but I was seeing that how actually the restaurant owner was interacting with somebody who is actually sad or who is happy, and how actually he's creating that environment that actually everybody feels safe and everybody feel like, hey, you know what? This is a place that I want to work. So that's where I learned that human capital aspect as well, how to actually, how to actually treat employees, or how to engage and retain employees.
So then what was the first kind of, besides selling lunches on the side, what was your first company that you started?
I think the first company that I started is, like the person that I met when I was actually doing the dishwashing.
Yeah.
So we later down the road, we became the partner, right?
Yeah.
So the first company that he started was Simpalm. Simpalm is a custom software development company, and he was doing the custom software development by his own. And then one day after getting graduated from Georgetown, at that time, I remember I was working in a Blue Cross, in a IT space as a consultant. And then I came to his home. We were having a dinner, and then I said, like, hey, you know what? You already have this infrastructure, and I have this great idea. You know what? Are you willing to actually start another portfolio, and I will be in charge of that portfolio?
Oh, nice.
So
again, you took the initiative and you asked the question.
Yes, I asked the question, and he said the same thing. He said, like, look, I mean, I don't want to do anything on that because I don't know anything about like a recruitment, right? Tech recruitment or tech staffing business. If you want to do it, yes, let's do it together. And then, and then it started, and then it's keep growing. And then we said, okay, you know what? It's time to become a partner.
Cool. Very cool. What year was that when you did the Simpalm?
I think you mean my first placement in Simpalm?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Okay, the first placement that I made in Simpalm, then I think is a 2013, I guess.
Okay.
2012.
And what was that feeling like? Do you remember that feeling of like, yes, I helped somebody, solve this solution. I hired this person, find a job. Like, what was the experience like?
It's a funny story. When actually I placed my first consultant, I was out of the job. Right. So now imagine, I mean, because
congratulations, you get a job. I'm still looking.
Yes, because I mean, because at that time, I mean, I was not 100% dedicated to Simpalm because I gotta have a bills to pay, right?
Yeah.
And then on the side, on the parallel, I was working, working other organization. But I know that, I got laid off, or my project was ended. And then I'm actually on the side, I mean, actually marketing my guys, and then the first. That gave me the great feeling that, oh, you know what, even though I don't have a job, but I actually helped to play somebody else.
Right.
So
in around that time, 2014, 15, there were a lot of companies that were coming out about video interviewing and how video can play a role. I think that your newest company is like it's like the beta test of it, and not the beta, the better version of it, meaning they came, they went, but you took approach differently with Duck and Owl. So can you talk about kind of the origin story of Duck and Owl and what was the goal and how is it different?
See, I mean, so far, whatever that actually I have done in my life, it's all based on my prior experiences, right? So even like a Duck and All, this was never planned. Me and my partner, we never planned that we're going to come up with some SaaS product. So how that happened, I mean, for example, I mean, when actually we start getting a lot more business in our recruitment and staffing. So in a tech staffing, there is a real issue. There is a real problem. The problem in tech staffing is a bait and switch.
Yes, 100%. Right? We see it all the time.
All the time. Everybody looks Superman on the paper, but I mean, but on the reality, I mean, they probably even don't know what Java is, right? So, a lot of time, I mean, we were about to burn our hands when our client says, I mean, seriously, I mean, you guys are not doing your due diligence.
Yeah.
Right? Like people say that, oh, you know what, I actually have a Skype call with people. I have seen that, in a Skype call, they do a lot of lip sync. Somebody else is speaking and somebody else is just,
really?
mimicking, right? So that was the one thing. And another thing that actually we saw that, I mean, for example, I mean, as I said, I mean, there is no validation behind our skill assessment type of stuff. For example, there are so many. Oh,
it's okay. You can say hi.
Okay.
Bring her in the show.
give me 2 seconds. I'm sorry, Matt.
Oh, it's okay. No worries. It's life, right? That's so funny. One of the coolest things that I'm hearing from this story is really about how Vikram has really continued to push the limits from one to another, never happy with the next. So let's go back to him and see if we can hear further about the story about what's going. All right, there he's back.
Sorry about that.
It's okay, man. No worries.
So I mean, so like we saw that, and another problem that actually we saw that the validation of skill assessment. If you go and actually say like you want to send somebody a Java test, I mean, and I want to check the Matt George Java skill set, and I send you the link.
Don't send me the link first off.
You can send that link. You can send that link to me, or you can hire someone else on a Craigslist and actually have that person to do this. What's the validation behind it? Who is doing what, right? And then the poor recruiter who is thinking that I'm talking to the Staller, but the Staller is not a Staller. He's a clever person. He's just using somebody else's knowledge to answer all those questions. So all that data that actually we are seeing on the skill assessment, if somebody make 80%, 70%, actually that's not real data.
Yeah.
Right. And another problem that I saw that when like for example, these hiring managers, I mean, God bless them. I mean, for example, I mean they are reviewing 5 pages long resume, right? And how they're gonna know that they should actually give an interview to the Vikram over Matt because both of the resume look similar.
Right.
There is no data. And another thing that actually I personally feel that when actually I was looking at a job when actually I graduated from Georgetown is you apply for the job and then you should forget about where your resume goes. It's like a black hole, right? There is no chance that they want to give it to you. Hey, you know what? If you have a skill set, we are giving you the chance to show your skill set.
Right.
There was like a very predefined template that actually comes to you. Thank you very much for applying. We will get back to you as soon as actually we feel like your resume has everything that what we are looking for.
I feel like what you're describing is exactly out of that movie, The Internship, with the Google movie. I don't know if you remember. You see that where it's like C++, keyboarding. They were like doing the video interviewing with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. But it's exactly right. So you were actually living it because you were seeing the problem on two fronts. When you were applying maybe for yourself or trying to get exposure, but then also in your recruitment business, trying to find the consultant. So you were kind of seeing this problem kind of on multiple sides.
And also, I mean, in my recruitment business, I mean, another problem that I was facing, I mean, how I'm going to compete with a multi-billion-dollar company? Because if I'm the vendor, they are vendor too, right? And they are like a big army of the recruiter. I don't. Right. So then how my resume should look different. Right. So I was always thinking, what else I can actually send to the hiring manager. Right. That actually made my company look different. Right. And Matt, I mean, so like you asked that video interviewing is like is a old, I mean, it's in a 2008 or 2010 and how you guys approach this. We approach this because when actually we create Duck and All, we only create for internal use, by the way.
Oh, really? That's the best platforms typically are internally designed.
Yes, internally designed. And then we feel like because of the Duck and All, we are actually getting like a 50x more business.
Yeah.
Like these people are, moment I send them the video, moment I send a skill assessment, the manager is saying that, yes, I want to interview this guy. Then actually we realize that, maybe since it works for our business, that might can help to other businesses over there as well.
Sure.
So that's how we came up with the idea. Now let's convert our internal product into a SaaS product.
The other thing, when I feel like I make decisions based on helping others, and so those decisions typically have a bigger impact in the business overall. Did you find that something similar in terms of, trying to help the people who weren't getting the jobs, but they were overqualified or properly qualified, helping them distinguish themselves from the mix? Was that part of your experience as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the one example that I want to share over here. So like, for example, a lot of time as a recruiter, I mean, what normally when we see the resume, right?
Yeah,
if somebody has a very well written resume, it's a inbuilt assumption that actually comes, oh, this guy might be a good guy.
Yeah, just based on the layout, right? Yeah,
based on the layout,
and vice versa. If it's misspelled words or the template's off, it's tough. And there's a bias that goes in immediately.
Yes, the bias immediately goes into that, right? So that happened with us too. And I'm gonna be very transparent over here. Like for example, I was looking for like a junior network engineer, right? So the resume start popping up. And then imagine that, what a 5-year experience guy, 6 year of experience guy, you name it, they have everything in the resume.
Yeah.
Right. So that's your dream resume that are coming in, right? There is a one guys who actually just who actually works in the army as a butcher for most of his life, right? And then he recently transitioning his career, right, to networking, and he's been working in the networking for last 3 years. If you compare his resume with all those, like, like a 6 or 7 years of guy in a traditional recruitment way, you probably don't even call this person.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Yeah, exactly.
That's a bias right over there, right? But then what happened with our platform, actually, because in our platform, if I'm sending the video to the Matt, I have to send to the everyone, right? Same thing, exactly, give the fair chance to everyone, no matter what, right? And now this person replied with a video as well as skill assessment. You'll be surprised to know that, I mean, his answer comparative to all other people that actually applied was way better than that. In his test, he made like a way above that actually people actually who are claiming themselves as a 6 year of experience and a 7 year of experience.
And
long story short, clients loves him, and at the end of the day, he is still working on my client side.
Wow, cool. That's a great story. You're right. So talk for people who don't know, and again, if you don't know this software, you definitely need to find a way to get to the website. I'm going to show the platform in a little bit, but talk through, like, I would say the top 3 benefits or the top 3 things you've seen that have really transformed over the last couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years, and how Duck and Owl has really been almost proactively ahead of the curve when it comes to this interview process. Because, I've seen these other bigger platforms do it, but I'm convinced you do it significantly better. And that's why I'm such a big advocate of you, not only because you are an entrepreneur organization and that you have the life skills and a journey, but I just believe the technology is way more advanced. And if you're not using it, then you're almost at a disadvantage. And so talk about what the top 3 kind of things are from the platform that you're seeing. And then we could go into kind of what you're seeing in terms of trends, because I'd love to get your thoughts on what you're seeing on the front lines of the HR movement, the capital, in terms of what's needed to make placements these days versus, potential for hiring.
Right. So I think the 3 top things that actually I think the benefit is, again, I'm going to speaking just because of my experience, because we use Duck and All on a daily basis in our recruitment business, right? So like, engagement with the Duck and All, you will get a chance to make an intimate relationship with the candidate as a recruiter the moment the candidates see the job description, and I will tell you how later. And also, I mean, the time, right? It's a big time saver, right? Because rather actually playing ping pong communication, I mean, you're literally, sending the candidate. So it saves times, not only the recruiter, it's also save a lot of time, the hiring manager as well. The third and most important is it completely remove the biasness from your recruitment process. So if any audit happen tomorrow, somebody say, why you hiring a Matthew or Vikram, you have a data to support that. So you are making your recruitment as a data driven. And the same thing, a lot of time, when I talk to the hiring manager who's sitting on the client side, they say, like, sometimes, we have this feeling, okay, we are getting this resume from our vendor, but are they being biased or are they being not biased? How can we make sure that? Because, right?
As the end user customer who's buying the product, right?
Yes.
The person, the service.
But when you submit everything through the data, through the Duck and All, they have assurance that, okay, they have given a chance to everyone. Like going back to my earlier example with the person that I told, now look, client is very happy. He's supposed to pay way much more to like a 7 or 8 year person. Now he gets the same skill set with a lesser experience. So it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah, it's a win-win. That's good. So it's almost, you would use, and I agree, we've put it out to our network and it's just been, greatly appreciated by all of our authorized dealers throughout the country, that it really gives people almost an unfair advantage for the people who are using your platform. But you almost can phrase it as it's a benefit for the end user customer to really see the skill sets out there in a very unified manner and operationally efficient manner as well.
Yes, correct. And the way we designed, a lot of time, you might have heard that, there are some companies who are doing similar type of the work, but they charge arm and leg. But over actually the platform is designed in such a way, no matter what, whether you are a one-man army or whether you're enterprise, you can easily afford.
Well, and the templates are such that you can have like a couple modes, right? So you can ask a question that they're blinded to, they see the question, they have 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
Correct.
So then the camera turns on automatically onto their screen. But then there's also the technical part where You can actually monitor the screen, how they're answering the questions, if they're looking it up on Google,
Yes.
or if they're actually just going smoothly typing it.
We will give them a red flag, if they are
Yeah.
trying to do that. And also we are enhancing it, so we're gonna give recruiter a more data as well, where actually tool will help you, to understand that whether this person is a more on entry level side or more on the experience side.
Yeah. Just based on how they're phrasing their code. So most of it's been developer focused, but lately with the trend in COVID and changes in hiring practices, I've seen a lot of success in outside of the developers as well with your platform. So trucking has been one of them,
Trucking
but
is
also
one of them.
call center type.
Warehouse is one of them.
Warehousing, call centers, trucking. You're like really
restaurants. Because rather actually calling everybody over here. The restaurant people are using this, and the results are amazing. I have a couple of people. Who are a lot of actually the PT and OT type of the people. And it's surprising. How it works. I have one customer, and he has a lot of OT. Occupational therapist, and then he actually sends the video to that person, and the person gave the video, and the person call. Like the company who are using it, because they ended up hiring that person. Then so like, can you give me the connect? Can you give me like a contact information or duck and all guys? Because my husband owns a roofing company, and I think this is the best product.
That's great. That's not even like within a similar industry. That's roofing. That's
yeah. So because we have everything. For example, if you want to use skill assessment, you can use it. But if you're not gonna use it, you're not gonna pay for that, right? But you have that. And also, for the roofing companies, if you wanna make your own skill assessment test, we are here to help you, and and you can give to your people as well.
Yeah, that's fun. I love, in the book I wrote a whole chapter on the types of entrepreneurs. And one of the chapters is really those problem solution type of entrepreneurs, just like you and me are both in that same category. We invent something, but it's a solution to a problem that everybody has. And it's really one of those things where you're just trying to help yourself and others live a better life more efficiently, more effectively. And I think the software goes right along with it. So,
and especially when actually you're going to make the solution because you are trying to solve a problem in your own business.
Yeah, exactly. You're a problem solver.
So like that's how we started. We didn't try to sell something. Since from the beginning, we created this to solve a problem in our own business first.
What's the story behind the duck and the owl then? So how did that name come about?
So as you can see from the sign, the logo looks like, the half duck and half owl. So that's why we call this duck and owl. Why we call this duck and owl? Because, the moment actually the recruiter posts a job, hundreds of resumes start coming, right? So our resume screening actually will tell you which resume has a more percentage match. Just like a duck, duck normally plays in the mud and try to find the food out of the mud. So our duck is actually trying to get you a best resume, so you can prioritize the time.
Okay.
The owl part comes if you as an ice, and also the owl is very wise, right? So if you try to cheat, our owl is looking at you. Our owl is gonna give you a red flag.
Oh, okay. It's like the all-seeing eye or something.
Yeah, all-seeing eyes, correct. You can say that. And also, our owl part also come from our video job description, where as a recruiter, you can make your own video, try to sell your job to the candidate.
That's the coolest part. I'm glad you touched base on it. That's one of the best feedback I've gotten from the people who've tried it, is really, it allows the recruiter to say, listen, this is what we're looking for. And you might not read all the details, but just listen to me. Is this for you? And I think it saves time on both the candidate and the recruiter. So again, it's the all around picture. It's all around package that you're offering. And
correct.
I think as we move very quickly into a Zoom based world, I think you were already there, which I think has given you the kind of the advantage, from that standpoint.
Correct. And also, especially, in a non-tech job, like you mentioned about a driver job, restaurant job, the video job description is really helpful, because driver doesn't have a time to read your entire a job description.
No.
So driver goes with a face value. If they feel like, hey, you know what, this is a person who is actually recruiting, or this is a person who's a hiring manager. We have the company where not only the recruiter, the hiring manager herself make a video and actually post it over the LinkedIn. Yeah. And then driver side, and then drivers start applying.
Yeah, it really puts the barrier. And I think that's probably more welcome since Zoom has been around because people are doing FaceTime more and Zoom more. And so they're used to it. But at the same time, I think it really puts a person behind the company. It gives the advantage to the customer looking to hire, whether they're an end user customer from a recruitment standpoint or whether there's somebody that, is just a small business trying to put character into the job description. Because maybe they can't pay as much, but as a small business, they can add the character, the teaching, the ability to grow with the company. And that's hard to convey in words, black and white words.
And also, I mean, that actually make candidate feel like this is like a fair thing because, for example, in traditional or what is happening, you're asking me so much information about me as a candidate, but you are not giving me even a guarantee that you're going to give me an interview. And top of that, I don't even see that who is the recruiter working on this particular team. Right? At least showing your face, you are saying that, hey, this is me, real person. Right? I need this information from you, your first name, last name, email. At least there is some sort of like a connection or intimate connection that as a recruiter that you can establish with the candidate to make them feel safer, especially these days when actually there are so many scams going on over Indeed.
Right. Yeah, it's one. If it's not one thing, it's another. So, So you joined Entrepreneurs Organization 2.5 years ago. For those who don't know, Entrepreneurs Organization is a 15,000 member global organization specifically designed for entrepreneurs. We have chapters throughout the country. I'm part of the Tampa chapter. Vikram's part of the Chicago chapter. Both of us are on the boards at our respective chapters. And one of the things that's really cool about Entrepreneur Organization is that it's almost the best of the best, when it comes to it, and it allows everybody to challenge. One of the things we've seen in our chapter is really the businesses that are surviving are all within the EO organization. I mean, we've grown so much in the past year versus the people who are not in the organization. How is your chapter doing in Chicago?
I mean, our chapter actually is doing really great. I mean, I think we are growing. I'm actually the part of like an EOA board member, which is like all those business who are under $1 million, right? So, I mean,
the accelerator program.
So I think, especially, I mean, starting from the 2021, I mean, we see a big change. Because now I think people are willing to try something new, and actually, I think they need this is the time they need organization like EO in a more. They probably never feel that, hey, we need the organization. I think this is a time where actually they're feeling we need more during this time. So feel like there is a growth over there.
Yeah, absolutely. How big is your chapter now?
I think we have almost like 150 members.
Oh wow!
Just
awesome.
And obviously accelerators are different. I mean, we have a different accelerator. I think in accelerator we have almost like near about like a 15 to 20, but we are forecasting to grow this probably like a twofold.
That's a very prestigious chapter in general. So great work to join that.
And
I would love to show everybody your website. So I have it pulled up here. Let me just go ahead and share it. Let's see it. Wrong button. All right. So best way to find you, ducknowl.com. Tell us about your website. Where should they go if they're looking for more? Or what's the best way to connect with you through the website?
The best way is, if you look in our website and, just schedule a demo with us, we will actually show you everything, whatever that we've been doing. If you want to know about our product, as Matt is doing, you can click any of those video screening, skill assessment, and actually will give you a little bit of idea at the high level, what these features are all about. And if you're using any ATS, applicant tracking system, we love to work with any ATS, and we can easily integrate with your ATS as well. Or even in your website, we can integrate with your career pages, everything, So, schedule a demo. We love to show you. We love to actually show you the real result that what we are doing as a company in Simpalm and how it is helping us.
Yeah, that's great. And you have it actually for employers that are non-staffing agencies and then also staffing agencies as well. So it's super simple right here.
We have a mixed type of the client. We have some staffing companies. We have some end client type of the companies too who use us direct as well, right? So I believe like wherever there is a hiring, and if you feel like whether you are actually running whether you are running like a tech company or whether you are running a cleaning company, you probably want to see the demo.
So it doesn't cost anything to do the demo. They can schedule it. It's an automatic scheduling platform, right?
Yes, it doesn't cost you anything. I mean, doesn't cost you anything. And even if somebody likes it, you know what? We will let you actually to use our platform for like 20, 30 days.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah, it sounds like you really want to get the knowledge up, but also give the freedom for people to recruit better, to make more money, whether it's for your own business or for your staffing business. So.
Yes, and Matt, as I said, I mean, I own a recruitment company too, so there is no secret sauce, right? I have no issue to tell people, hey, you know what? I use in my company and look at this result, and I'm able to actually place these many people in this much of time.
Yeah, good. Cool. Before we end the show, two things for you. One is, where do you see staffing in the next 2 years? I mean, you've kind of been intimately involved in this process from a human capital management standpoint. I'm always interested to learn kind of, where do you think we're going in the next 2 years from a human capital management standpoint? And then the last thing we'll end with is just really anything else you want to tell the audience.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see things, the way actually, when I say I talk like a lot of hiring manager, I think now they're going to be a push when they're going to say that, hey, we don't need to see the resume, right? We need to see the more data, right? And also, I mean, they just want to make sure that everything is actually, everything, whoever is submitting any candidate, there is no biasness, that everything needs to be driven by the data, right? So that type of the push, that actually I can see that, I mean, because it happened with us. One of our vendor was using our product, and then, like the end client told the other company, hey, you should start using something like this, because this is a way to actually submit a candidate, so I'm looking forward. I mean, in coming 2 years, I mean, I feel like this is going to be like a normal thing, for a candidate to do that. And also, I mean, the candidate is going to feeling more comfortable. I mean, rather than just sending the resume and not knowing where the resume is going, I think they want to see the face of the recruiter.
Yep, of course. I think it's the people business now, and it's going to be even more so.
Correct. And since we are in a people business, and I think we should all those recruiter, I mean, who are just posting a job, they should actually come forward and show their face, and then actually try to engage the candidate and make them feel safer too.
What a concept. Very good. Well, Vikram, is there anything else you wanted to say to the audience that's listening?
Yeah, anything that actually is listening to us, and if they're willing to actually try our platform, we would be happy to, and we would be happy to actually show them and let them actually use our platform unlimited for a month. And also, if you say that, hey, you know what, I saw you on a Matt Kolinsky shows, we will give you like a 5% off on your plan flat.
Wow, that's nice. All right. So you better, anybody who's listening, you better jump on this opportunity, because it's definitely the way of the future. I'm a big proponent of it. I think you can't really do a good job recruiting unless you're using this type of platform. And so, I thank you very much, Vikram, for making the platform, for making the company, and really for sharing your story. I think your story is one that's going to go down in the ages. And I love the fact that you just continue to innovate and not taking no for an answer, because that's really what it takes to become an entrepreneur in today's business world.
Thank you very much, Matt. And once again, guys, the discount code is Matt Kolinsky.
All right. Very good. All right, buddy. Well, thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Yep.
All right. Bye.